What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Tales from the Stack podcast, brought to you by Sefton Libraries. If you like what you hear, rate and review us on your podcast network of choice. You can also follow us on social media at Sefton Libraries, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Blue Sky. Now let us begin.
See how close you can get to the correct answer to the following question. Last year, how much money in total did the Sefton public save by borrowing physical library books, digital ebooks and e-audio from our BorrowBox app, and digital newspapers and magazines through our Press Reader app? You'll get the answer at the end of the episode.
Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing a little bookish chat. I am here with Mollie, Dan and Ben, and I am Erin, and we're going to be talking about reading goals for the year and also 2026 anticipated releases. Here we go.
I'll go first then. So last year I read probably 30-something books, something like that. I always go for 24 books in a year I like to read. That's always my goal every year.
Okay, so 2 a month.
Yeah, so far I've done about, I think I read 4 so far, so I'm on track.
Okay, nice.
Lovely.
I think I read, if I counted right, I read 36 books last year, and that was including graphic novels and short stories, which I will count.
Definitely.
And I'm hoping, to be honest, I was really happy with that. That averages at about 3 books a month. And I think for someone with a semi-busy life, I feel like that's reasonable.
It is.
So I'd be happy to just do that again. Or maybe if I was going to beat that, I would just go for a kind of modest 40. I think that would be fine for me.
Yeah, so last year I read 53 books,
Ooh.
which was actually less than I read the year previous. And yeah, I think I usually go for 25 and 2025. Like I usually match the 20 number that we're in the year. So this year it's 26 and 26 at least.
Yeah.
But I try and have a higher goal.
Yeah.
So I think last year my goal was 50 and I
You
went
exceeded
past
that.
So yeah, proud of myself.
I thought you were going to be like the person that had read the most books out of all the library staff.
I was not.
But Chris was just secretly...
He snuck in there.
Yeah, he was secretly reading like 100 books a year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Over 100 as
Over
well.
100.
Mad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here as the breath of fresh air, but I read hardly at all. So I think you're all crazy. Being able to read 24 books a year to me that's a monumental Everest of a task.
That's include audio books or like graphic novels as well.
Yeah. Well, I listen to mainly audiobooks. Just finished House on Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, and yeah, absolutely fantastic book. I had a grin on my face the whole time listening to it. The guy doing the narration was fantastic as well, because there's so many big characters to do their voices and them all be separate is just really good.
So as well as kind of setting goals for the amount of books that we're reading in a year, has anybody got any goals that they'd like to achieve that are a bit more abstract? So like, for example, like reading more seasonally, reading more like translated fiction, something that's not sort of quantifiable by a number, but just a direction that you'd like to go in.
I'd like to try and read more non-fiction books.
Yeah.
I've got one that was coming release, which I'm going to mention later. But yeah, I'd like to try and maybe read more autobiographies.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty easy reads, I find. That's a good way to transition yourself into non-fiction, I find.
Yeah. I struggle to find non-fiction that really grabs my attention. Even if it does interest me, often it's really
Dry.
technical,
Yeah.
very
Sometimes
dry.
it can be quite dry and academic.
Yeah, like when kind of ultra-processed people was really popular, I ended up listening to that on audiobook, which I think was a good call because it was very scientific. A lot of words that I would have just stumbled upon if I was reading it from text. So that was a good one to listen to on audio. So what books have you guys read so far this year, and how many have you read so far?
So I've read about 4 books myself this year. I read the Will Smith biography.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good. That came out a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Before the slap?
Yes, I did.
Pre-slap.
Before slap, yeah.
So there's pre-slap and
Post-slap.
and after slap.
That was good. A lot about his childhood, with his father, his moments, and how he grew up in West Philadelphia, born and raised. I've read Darth Maul, a graphic novel, this year.
Darth Maul's autobiography. How he was born and raised.
Yeah.
That was really good. If you've only watched the movies, you think he's a bit of a Shakespearean villain.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And there's a new animated series coming out soon, isn't
Yeah,
there? So
there is.
good to do your research on it
Mhm.
first beforehand.
I listened to an audiobook as well, trying to mix things up a bit.
Yeah.
I did One Shot by Lee Child.
Okay.
It's based, so the film with Tom Cruise is based on that one. The book was good.
That's Jack Reacher.
That's Jack Reacher, yeah.
Nice.
So the final book I've been reading is Made at the Black Cat Cafe. It's a Japanese book and I've been really enjoying it. It's a cozy crime mystery. So it's nice and easy breezy kind of read. It doesn't get too intense. Yeah.
There's quite a lot of these translated cozy, either cozy crime or cozy kind of slice of life.
They're
Japanese
obsessed
books.
with cats and food.
Great things to be obsessed about.
Definitely. So I've read 4 books so far this year, and my goal overall is to read 24. So I've got over 20. So I'm hitting the target, okay, 2 months.
I've been a bit up and down this year because I read like a 1,000-page book, but then I've also read some shorter books. So I think I've read like 4 so far this year, but I'll pick up the pace.
The 1,000-page one was Alchemized, wasn't it?
Alchemized. It
Yeah.
was based on a Hermione fiction, although they obviously heavily edited it.
So for the listeners at home, what is that? What's
So-
Hermione?
Draco and Hermione
and
from
Hermione from
Harry Potter.
Fan fiction.
Right, so they've written fan fiction about Draco and Hermione and then adapted it
Yeah.
to be its own thing.
They must have obviously adapted it so heavily that it's kind of not recognisable as the source material that it's based on. So it was very much its own thing, and it was a lot darker than any Harry Potter content that I've consumed. But it was good. It was just very long.
Yeah, so I think so far this year I've read 7 books. So I read 6 last month and I've only read 1 this month. So the last book I read was The Driver's Seat by Muriel Spark. So it was like a little short story. It was like quite like psychological thriller. And as you're reading this out, you're like, wait, where is this going? But then it picks up. And I was kind of a bit in shock about what happened at the end.
Yeah, good little short story. What made you want to read that?
It was the book club pick for all the Waterstones novella book club.
Okay, interesting.
That's great because members of the public sometimes do come into the library and ask us our
Yeah.
opinions of these books that have been advertised.
Yeah.
That's the main reason why I listened to the audiobook of the Thursday Murder Club. Because I thought, you know, I'm probably going to get asked at some point.
I'm really dragging my feet this year with the reading because my goal is 75 books.
Your real ambition is 100, but you're just like saying 75
So
out
75
loud.
is the doable one.
Yeah.
100 is like the dream one.
Yeah.
And you're like, Ben, I want to read more fan fiction, but more like
Non-fiction.
I want to read more non-fiction, but more so like historical.
You've been-
my medieval era, ancient Egypt, pirates, that sort of thing.
I've read 1 non-fiction this year, which was Raising Care, which seems to have been really, really popular. I suppose maybe people are just craving slowing down and analog life.
Yeah.
And the story is this lady who's really successful and lives a really busy lifestyle, moving back to the countryside and raising a hare. So I suppose maybe it's just the kind of story that people are craving at the moment. That was great. I enjoyed that.
I am not reading something like that at the moment. I'm reading Eat the Ones You Love, which is like, it's like plant horror, isn't it?
Like carnivorous plant.
I think I've seen the cover.
Yeah,
It's a really nice cover.
I've been reading it since I finished Driver's Seat, and I've only like 45 pages through. I want to pick it back up though, because I do really want to read Eat the Ones You
Yeah.
Love, because I am enjoying what
Yeah.
I've read so far.
I've actually remembered a few books that I've read already this year. I listened to The Long Shoe by Bob Mortimer.
I love
Oh,
that.
he's so funny.
I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I listened to a little bit of non-fiction, How to Thrive with Adult ADHD by Dr. James Cousteau. That was really good, and I think I would have struggled physically reading that because it is quite clinical and study-based, and it was nice just to listen to the steps. Like step 1 would be a whole chapter. I could just listen to that in one chunk. I've just finished reading a physical book. Yeah. Though it's a very easy, quick read with pictures. It's Strange Houses. There's no sequel to Strange Pictures. I can't remember the name.
Uketsu.
Uketsu. It's translated into English, and so both books revolve around an image, a drawing or a floor plan of a house that as you read more of the book, the drawing or floor plan becomes more disturbing when you realise things that you didn't notice first time round.
And the different connections, like with strange pictures. It was like 4 completely separate stories that by the end you realise were actually very much interlinked.
Some graphic novels, some new graphic novels we got into the library. Read the Book of Doom, which is a Doctor Doom from Marvel's like an origin story, or a take on his origin story, which is good to get in now because we've got Doctor Doom coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe this year.
Yes. Robert Downey
coming back, yeah.
Good choice.
Highly recommend that. And just read a standalone like graphic novel called Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, which is on the face of it, it's kind of like quaint American town, and everyone is like anthropomorphic animals. So, it's like a bear owns a hardware store, and there's like a bakery owned by a tortoise or something like that. So it's really cute, beautifully drawn and watercolours. But the thing is, it is quite adult. It centres around like a murder mystery, a fairly graphic murder mystery. So the kind of cutesiness of it versus the horrific nature of having a serial killer in a small town. It was really fun. Yeah, I'm looking to read more different genres. I tend to read or listen to science fiction or fantasy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind dipping into some. I never read a detective like story, one of these series that
like Hercule Poirot or something.
Yeah, one where it's like if I like it, then I've got a whole series of that. So different genres. I have read a non-fiction.
Nice.
That I got for Christmas.
So intellectual.
The history of the real Ghostbusters cartoon.
I take it back.
Really niche, but really interesting. So essentially, even though it is about Ghostbusters, but the book is really about the TV and like toy industry of the late 80s and 90s. That was really interesting.
So there's some anticipated releases that I'm looking forward to. One we've kind of mentioned just now was Strange Buildings. Again, I've read Strange Pictures. I really loved that book. I flew through it in like a day or two, and so I really want to read Strange Buildings.
Yeah, well, I really want to read the first one now because I didn't realise it was quite like horror-esque, horror adjacent. So now I'm kind of interested.
Yeah. The second book is A Saving of Hope by Hisashi Kashiwai. So this is a sequel to The Restaurant of Lost Recipes, a book I read last year.
Yeah, that sounded cute.
Yes, it's like a detective series, both looking for lost recipes. So a person will come into the restaurant and says, I had this meal when I was a child, I got it from this location, and then the two chefs will go and try and recreate that dish. And it's more about the personal journey of those characters, and each chapter is like a different recipe. So it's a nice easy read. You can just read a chapter a night and and it's like a short story.
Yeah.
And my third book anticipated release is The Last Kings of Hollywood by Paul Fisher. This is a non-fiction book. So this is detailing George Lucas, Steven Spielberg and Francis Ford Coppola. And it's mainly just going into their history and their background of when they started the industry, and how, I suppose, back in the 70s and 80s, how pop culture seemed to revolve around those three directors.
Yeah.
Godfather, Star Wars.
Yeah.
And how they, I suppose, just changed the industry forever.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to learning something new about them.
So a few of my 2026 anticipated releases. We've got Sea of Charms by Sarah Beth Durst, which is the third book in the Spell Shop books. These are just really cute, sort of whimsical books about found family a lot of the time. And similarly, I've got Disenchanted by Lucy Jane Wood. So that again is the third book in a series about young witches finding themselves. And it's a throwback to nostalgic kind of 90s Sabrina the Teenage Witch, that kind of vibe. There's also a book called Teddy Bears Never Die by Cho Ian. And I don't really know much about it, but the picture of it was a blue teddy bear in an apocalypse. And I just think it looks really cool. So there's a lot of really fun books coming out this year. I've really been enjoying like cozy reads, witchy reads, horror reads, and just really like wacky weird books. That's what I'm here for. I love a goof.
Yeah.
Goof me up. What about you, Molly?
So some of my 2026 anticipated releases. One of them is Hooked by Asako Yuzuki. So Asako Yuzuki wrote Butter, which was the Waterstones Book of the Year. Butter was an amazing.
I haven't read it, but I know it was Waterstones Book of the Year.
Yeah.
Was it last year? Or the year
Yeah,
before?
it was last year, I think. Well, I think it was 2024, and then last year it also had a Book of the Month
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, I really want to read that. It's not related at all in any way to Butter, but I just really liked their writing, so I want to read that. And then I also have Once Upon a Time There Was Truth by Jack Sipes. So Jack Sipes is a dear old friend of mine. Not really, just when I was doing when I was doing university, I did a really big essay on like fairy tales and how people use fairy tales in art to depict their own ideologies and stuff.
Ooh, okay.
And Jack Sipes was just the guy to go to for all those like fairy tale sources.
Yeah.
So this book is a non-fiction sort of about fairy tales and like what truth you can glean from them and stuff like that, which I think would be really interesting. I also can't wait for The Thorn Queen by Sasha P. and Smith. It's the third book in the Rose Bargain series.
Yeah.
I haven't read the second one yet.
No, I've only read the first.
I'm waiting for the paperback. I'm also just really excited for the third book to come out. And then Wolfland by T. Kingfisher. We love a T. Kingfisher. I only really started reading their books last year,
Yeah.
and they just hooked me.
I really want to read like all of their horror, because I know she's done like series of books, but she's done quite a few standalone horror.
Done a lot. It's like What Feasts the Night and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I really want to read Wolfland.
Yeah.
I read Sword Heart last year, and I fell in love because
I
I just love the medieval fantasy genre.
I want to read Nine Goblins.
Yes. And there's also a book called How to Lose a Goblin in 10
In 10
Days.
days. I'm noticing a theme with lots of sort of like fairy tales.
Yeah, I'm a big fairy tale girl. I love medieval kind of vibes, and then also just I love translated fiction, particularly Japanese and Korean translated fiction. And usually for them, I do like the murder mysteries, crime, and horror kind of ones. Like I do like the cozy ones, but the horror and the murder mysteries and crime just draw me in a bit more.
Yeah.
And
I think sometimes they've got a really fresh take with horror.
Yeah, because it's just a completely different perspective to Western horror books. And then just one final one is Finding Albion by Zakiya Sewell. I got it as a proof, which I was really excited about. It's basically about like King Arthur and going across the British landscapes and trying to find different information about King Arthur and if he was real and stuff, and how the British landscape leans into the myth of Arthur and stuff like that.
Is it non-fiction?
It's non-fiction, but it's quite short. But I find with a lot of historical non-fiction that they tend to write it in a narrative way, unless of course it is a proper textbook. Historical non-fiction is very much sort of like someone's at a campfire reciting these things that have happened on their journey kind of thing, which is quite nice and quite palatable. Yeah. But you're still getting all the facts.
Yeah. I think British kind of Arthurian legends and British medieval history should be leaned into a bit more. What about you, Dan?
Well, I agree with Ben. I'd really like to read Strange Buildings by Yukatsu. That comes out. I can imagine that having a really cold list when it...
I was going to say, you're going to have to get in line, I think.
I've been recommended a book called The Everlasting.
Yes.
By...
Alex E. Harrow.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, my wife's recommended it to me and it sounds right up my alley. But really there's only one book that I'm interested in, and it was only announced a couple of weeks ago, and it's a new Red Dwarf book. It's a Red Dwarf Titan, written by Rob Grant. Yeah. So it's been 25 years since we've had any Red Dwarf novels, and they're usually adaptations of episodes and things like that, just expanded. This is a full-on prequel to the original series and the original book. I think it's because they tried to pitch it as a big budget TV show and it fell through. Yeah. So make it into a book. And then maybe the book will be popular enough for them to make it into a TV series. I'm looking forward to reading it because Dave Lister, the main character, he grew up in Bootle.
Oh, wow.
So occasionally in the books there's mention of like places like the Bootle Municipal Golf Course was mentioned. That's where Dave Lister lost his virginity. In the bunker behind the green. Wow. So that's it. I think that's the main one I'm really looking forward to. I think that's coming out in June or July.
Yeah, nice.
And for those listening, if you've got any books that you're really looking forward to as well, drop it in the comments and see if you can recommend it to anyone else.
And let us know what your reading goals are for 2026.
Yeah. Are they insane? Like Mollie's 100 books?
Are they more reasonable?
Like
Ben?
mine? 2.
2 months.
Yeah, if I listen to 4 audiobooks and read some comics,
You'll be made up.
Yeah, that'll be like,
It'll be
wow.
the academic achievement of the year.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, well, next up is Gordon's Biscuit review. Stay tuned. Let's get tasting. Oh, delicious. Hello, and welcome to this week's Biscuit Hour. It's not really an hour, it just feels like it. And today we've got with us apprentice Mollie from Crosby Library. Don't let that title apprentice, she actually runs the place. So welcome to our Biscuit Hour. So do you like eating biscuits, Mollie?
I do. I think every librarian enjoys eating biscuits.
I think it's almost getting compulsory now, isn't it? If you're a librarian, you sample a cornucopia of biscuits that the public bring in that we're always grateful for as well.
Yeah.
So today, because Mollie's sort of cutting edge, she's about there, we're doing the most controversial of all biscuits. That's right, it's the Jaffa cake. Not legally a biscuit.
No.
It is a cake, but for some reason it's sold on the biscuit now. So, Jaffa cake, what do you think's in the middle of them? You think that's orange? Oh, you have to think again, because what is actually is apricot.
Oh, is it?
It's apricot that's been flavoured with tangerine oil.
Why?
Probably because it's probably just better. Probably orange oil, probably if you do it too much, it's probably the right consistency, or too orangey or something like that.
Yeah.
Cheaper. That's always
That's
another thing.
interesting,
And yeah, so shrinkflation, sort of where you used to get 12 in a sort of box, now you only get 10, and they've been reduced in size by 88%. So that's that's a bit of a talking point, isn't it?
I was very mad about that because I used to eat 4 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So each 12 Jaffa cake tube, I could have like 3 little snacks of.
It was 3 portions, yeah. And
But now I've got to like split it between 2 packs.
not right, is it? It's not right.
It's not.
So we're gonna, without further ado, we're gonna indulge ourselves. I have a bit of a fetish, if that's the right word for it, for stale Jaffa cakes. Not like going green and mouldy, but if you leave them out for like a couple of days, the sort of spongy bit on the top is, yes, there's another controversial point. The chocolate bit of the Jaffa cake is actually the bottom bit.
You just blow my mind now.
I know,
about
you just think, oh, Jaffa cake. So not only, so they're not biscuits, the cakes, and the chocolate bit is on the bottom. A bit like digestives. The digestive people say that because the chocolate is meant to touch your tongue.
Oh, I see.
You've got taste buds on the top of your mouth.
Yeah,
haven't
and
you?
it like melts on your tongue.
And it melts on your tongue.
Do you like them stale because they're more like biscuits?
That's probably it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of a bit spongy, a bit weird, but that's probably psychologically. That's probably not a thing. Oh, it's a biscuit now. You get the crunch,
Yeah.
and that's. I mean, you spend millions of pounds, don't you, researching sort of. Imagine that as a job, just sitting there crunching biscuits all day. So yeah, do you want to have a go? So, we'll try and snap them, but obviously as a Jaffa cake. Also, there's a bit of a snap there.
Quite a good snap.
And you got the
Oh my, it's going
apricot
all over the place.
simulated Jaffa cake.
Ooh, the sponge is very hard.
Oh, that's delicious that.
Everything but the sponge is working for me.
Right, so you like your spongy.
I like my sponge Jaffa cakes, yeah.
Some moisture in.
I don't know what it is about like proper Jaffa cakes, because whenever I have like the jarg ones, they just never taste quite as good.
No, they don't.
I don't know why.
And they probably come from the same factory as well, don't they? Well, have you ever had Marks and Spencer's ones?
No.
They're like Jaffa cakes. They're like obviously Marks and Spencer, so they're not round, they're square. And the Jaffa, they must use proper orange in that, because they're so orangey, like you start sweating.
So like tangy.
Yeah, really, really tangy. So can you remember your first biscuits experience?
Not exactly, but I would gather that my first biscuit was probably rich tea or ginger nut.
Right.
Because that's all the first I can really remember, because my grandparents, so my grandma, she would have rich tea, my granddad would have ginger nut. So when we went round theirs, I would always have rich tea or ginger nut. Mostly ginger nut because I just preferred that. It had a bit more flavour.
Yeah. So grandparents.
Grandparents, yeah.
It's sort of you didn't have biscuits when at home much.
We did, yeah. We had like hobnobs and stuff.
Yeah. But do you think maybe because you were going around to your grandparents, it was more of an event? It was more of a
I think it's just my first memory of biscuits probably is more related to my grandparents than at home.
Yeah. And so have you got a favourite biscuit?
Oh, I do love a jammy dodger.
Yeah.
I seem to like me fillings.
You like your fillings, you like jammy fillings.
Jammy fillings. Yeah.
And how are you with these like newfangled sort of tastes, sort of Coca-Cola flavoured and I don't know, beetroot and onion or something?
Oh God, no.
No,
I'm a purist.
You're a purist, you like the raspberry ones. And obviously you will be disgusted at the shrinkflation.
Yes.
That's taken them from 8 biscuits to 6 biscuits. But they've cleverly kept them in the same size packet.
Yeah, I noticed
so
that.
So you don't go, hey?
Yeah, I opened a packet like the other day and I was like, hang on a minute, seems a bit empty.
And that's the next street. I mean, taking 12 down to 10 is
not
bad enough,
yeah.
but taking 8 down to 6, it really is taking
a bit more noticeable.
Taking the biscuit, isn't it? Literally. Taking 2 biscuits.
Yeah. So, and then keeping them in the same packet as well is more noticeable, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think with Jaffa Cakes, they just like shorten the package a bit.
Yeah, they're already concealed, aren't they? Yes, but the Jaffa Cakes have also been reduced in area by 88%.
I thought that was just me getting taller.
No. The Jaffa Cakes have been reduced by 88%, and the jam has been reduced by something like 36%.
I knew I wasn't imagining.
No, you're not going mad. They literally have shrunk the number of biscuits, the size of biscuits, and the size of the filling. Yeah, they charge us more.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got to charge you more.
You know what they've also stopped doing? When I was a kid, for like some school lunches, I'd get like, they used to have this orange plastic pouch with like a sealed top, and you used to have 6 mini Jaffa Cakes in it.
Yeah.
And like the trick would be like an amazing day would be if you got a 7.
If there's like
an extra one.
Something went wrong in the factory.
And like, I don't know where we got them as kids because they used to come in like a 6-pack kind of thing, and you're like yogurts, you'd break one off.
You'd break
one of the packets off and then have 6 mini Jaffa Cakes, and I have no idea where they've gone.
A bit like sort of like you can get like Dunkable, like
them
Lunchable or Lunchables, like sort of.
Yeah, they were like Jaffa Cake Lunchables.
Jaffa Cake Lunchables. Ooh, they probably are available somewhere. You'd probably just
very expired.
Because you're beyond the age of packed lunches now, aren't you?
Yeah.
So we've got another Jaffa Cake left. I don't know if you want to try it again. Sort of.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat it anyway because I think it's lovely. So once again, go for it. Oh, you don't get that with a fresh Jaffa Cake.
Definitely not.
Have you got a biscuit that you hate?
I'm trying to think.
Like a biscuit, if you were really hungry for a biscuit.
I hate anything dark chocolate, but that's not the biscuit's fault. That's just dark chocolate.
So you hate dark chocolate?
But biscuit-wise, I'd probably say like a plain digestive because it's just very bland. And I'm not a hot drinker.
No, so I'm not a dunker really.
I wouldn't dip it in any tea or anything like that.
I know some people do dunk their biscuits, but I'm not a dunker. I've done it on the podcast.
I've tried it before. With a hot chocolate.
Maybe very occasionally I'll dunk a biscuit, but
I don't drink tea or coffee, so I'd just be dunking it in hot chocolate.
And also, I always kind of think that dunking biscuits, it ruins 2 things. It ruins your biscuit and it ruins your drink.
Yeah, and especially, what if you lose the biscuit while you're dunking?
That's just a nightmare, isn't it? It's just a drinking sludge at the bottom. Not pleasant at all. So what did you make of that?
Not as nice as a spongy Jaffa Cake, but...
You would have liked them spongy, yeah?
Yeah, but...
I think you're going to be in the majority of the camp. I think a lot of people are going to be, what dried Jaffa Cakes. But I think it tricked my mind into eating a biscuit.
The jelly and the chocolate were great.
And when you think about it, that's like most of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
The jelly and the chocolate. So the chocolate side is the bottom, because that's where your tongue is. The chocolate hits your tongue first and melts on your tongue, and then that's a bit controversial because people think, for some reason, psychologically, you think the chocolate's the top.
Yeah. How would you usually eat a Jaffa Cake? Do you because I know some people eat the chocolate first.
I do sometimes, especially if it's stale. I'll use like my bottom teeth to sort of scrape off, and then you're left with like a chocolate UFO.
Okay.
And then you peel the chocolate off. Like you can, it's amazing what you can do. You can peel all the chocolate off, and then you're just left with like perfect jelly, like a little perfect jelly disc.
Usually what I do is I eat sort of like the crust, which is all the bits without the jelly.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
then I'm left with like the chocolate jelly and the sponge, but just the centre bit. And then I eat it, so I get like the max amount of jelly in my mouth.
Would you go off all at once, or
No, I'd like eat it in 2 bites.
we'd eat it in 2 bites?
I'd like nibble the edges and then eat the middle in 2 bites.
Yeah, that's funny how people have different like habits, isn't it? Sort of how they rituals when they're eating food. And, well, yeah, it's nice to sort of, isn't it? Just a num 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 num.
Yeah, because like I said, I'm a filling girl, so I like to maximise.
So basically what you do, and you're getting rid of the waste.
Yeah.
We'll get rid of that, and then I'll savour and really enjoy the jammy sort of jelly, chocolatey, spongy bit.
Yeah, I'm like that with sandwiches and everything as well. I eat the crust first and make sure I'm like eating around the chunkier bit.
Oh, have you got like a big piece of meat in it or whatever? Yeah. That's what you do when you're a kid, isn't it? You eat the bits that you don't like first.
Best till last.
And then I always got used to get shouted after that for some
Really?
reason. Yeah, sort of like,
Well,
just eat all your dinner all at once, have a bit of it. No.
But also, like, if you're eating the things you don't like, you're eating the veg first, so surely they'd be happy about that.
Well, yeah. Well, I think what it was is that leave me with the potatoes, and everyone wanted one. We always had shortage of potatoes in the house. And it was like, are you eating that potato, Gordon? Are you eating that potato? I'm like, yeah, I'm saving it.
I'm the same. I always leave when we have a roast. I always leave my potatoes.
Yeah, it's got protected. Sometimes put your hand over your dinner to stop people. But luckily, we've been all right today.
Yeah.
So Jaffa cakes are a cake, not a biscuit.
Not a biscuit, not at all.
And they don't have Jaffa orange in them. They have tangerine oil. Apricot and sugar flavour with tangerine oil. Yeah. And they basically called it Jaffa because Jaffa oranges were really popular back in the day.
It seems the only part they're not lying about is the cake part.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, they've been dragged through the courts, haven't they? They have to do the famous court case where they made a cake-sized Jaffa cake.
I just don't understand why it was ever up for debate in the first place. Because it's clearly not a biscuit.
It was tax. It was tax thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a tax thing. People thought it should be taxed.
Yeah.
But they were like, no.
Well, I think I'm not. Someone can write in and let me know, but I think you get taxed on cakes, but you don't get taxed on biscuits.
I think it's the other way around.
Or it's the other way round.
Yeah, I think that's why they were saying we're a cake, because they didn't want to get
They didn't want to get the tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't get why biscuits are taxed and not cakes.
Luxury item. Yeah, I mean, you would think both of them are luxury items, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, do you really need cake?
No.
Just a handful of gruel and be grateful for it, sort of get back to work.
Just a slice of bread and some jam, that's a cake, there you go.
Yeah, so roughly, apparently, 1.4 billion are eaten every year. Not by me.
Wow.
Worldwide.
I probably contributed a lot to that when I was younger.
And the most of them are eaten in Britain.
Yeah, I used to get the meat along sticks at Christmas.
Oh, the big meat, like a yard of Jaffa cake.
Yeah, so like me and my sister would get them, and then when she went off Jaffa cakes, she was still getting them. So then I'd have a second one.
Oh, fantastic.
It was great.
Did you put her off the Jaffa cakes?
No, she just went off them herself. And I was just...
Probably because she'd stuffed herself so much.
They were just like my favourite like snack as a kid. And then eventually like I kind of went off them because I just kind of went off sweets and chocolate in general for a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think your taste buds mature, don't they? And you sort of think, oh yeah, that's good. What you like as a kid, you don't necessarily like as a grown up.
I still do really like them, just I'm not as obsessed.
Yeah. I mean, when you got the meat along, how many of them would you eat in a session?
On Christmas Day, I'd probably eat like one whole 12 Jaffa cake packets.
I mean, that's going for it, isn't it?
And then I'd space out all the others throughout the holidays.
And you're probably a bit sick of them by that point, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you were,
and
also,
I don't think so.
and also Christmas, you got like so many other things as well.
Yeah.
So, like you said, you're a purist, so you don't like all these weird and wonderful flavours.
No.
Have you had any of the weird and wonderful flavours?
had the Coca-Cola Jaffa cake accidentally.
Oh, right.
It was disgusting.
It was a shock to the system.
It wasn't in the cardboard packaging. It was just in the plastic, and the plastic
So
is
you
just
were-
see-through.
So you were fully expecting
I was expecting the pure orange, well, tangerine, apricot.
tangerine apricot sort of thing, and when you get Coca-Cola,
I was
this sort
unpleasantly surprised.
unpleasantly surprised. Well, we had some in the drawers, the berry surprise things.
Yeah.
And they were disgusting. Disgusting. No, I'm a purist. I keep the Jaffa cake. Keep Jaffa in the Jaffa cakes. So I think we're pretty much about done. So thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We didn't have a dunker because we don't dunk Jaffa cakes, so that worked out well. And we're not dunkers anyway, are we? So thank you all very much for listening, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi book lovers, it's Dan again from Stock Services. It's March and our newest fiction is here. Here's the top picks for you to reserve right now. If you love thrillers and mystery, these are for you. The Move by J.P. Delaney, a claustrophobic domestic noir about a family relocating for a fresh start, only to be harassed by the former owners. When I Kill You by B.A. Paris, the master of psychological thriller returns with a story about a woman who believes her husband is a murderer. The Hiding Season by Ava Glass, a high-stakes spy thriller featuring Emma Makepeace, perfect for fans of fast-paced espionage. A Murder in 8 Cocktails by Kelly Mullen, a stylish lockroom mystery set during a glamorous party where the drinks and the guests might be lethal. Judge Stone by James Patterson and Viola Davis, a legal thriller that keeps the pages turning as it follows a high-stakes trial with everything on the line. Hide and Seek by Soren Silvestrup, from the creator of The Killing. This atmospheric Nordic noir is as chilling as it sounds. Stories that dive deep into the human experience. A Beautiful Loan by Mary Costello, a profound exploration of the inner life and complexities of human connection. Kin by T.R.E. Jones, a powerful story of family secrets and the ties that bind across generations. The News from Dublin by Colm Toivin, a masterful look at Irish life, politics and personal history from the award-winning author of Brooklyn. Secrets Between Friends by Sheila O'Flanagan, a heartwarming yet insightful look at the bonds of friendship and the truths we keep from those closest to us. Travel back in time with these immersive reads. The Fortune Tellers of Rue de Rue by Alessia Sal Gilmore. Set in the early 20th century Paris, this follows the lives of mystical women navigating a changing world. The Secret Society of Librarians by Kate Thompson, a tribute to the power of books and the heroic women who protected them during the Second World War. For something a little more otherworldly, Python's Kiss short stories by Louise Erdrich, a stunning collection of 13 stories that blend the ordinary with the mystical. Children of Strife by Adrian Tchaikovsky, the next epic installment in his acclaimed sci-fi series exploring evolution and conflict. Daughter of Crows by Mark Lawrence, a gritty immersive new fantasy that promises the sharp wit and dark world building Lawrence is known for. You can find all of these titles and more at your local branch. Head over to the Sefton Library's catalogue website or Leader app to place your holds today. Happy reading, Sefton.
Have you made your guess about how much money in total was saved last year by the public using Sefton Libraries? Here's the answer: a whopping £5.3 million. Here's to saving even more this year.
You've been listening to the Tales from the Stack podcast, brought to you by Sefton Libraries. Keep up to date with the latest news on our socials, and we hope to see you again next time.